Welcome to my channel. I'm finally decided to make a next step and film a VR video. There are so many fun tags out there, but to kick things off, I decided to go with the tag started by Beautiful Garden Goddess Tarot. Only 10 mass market decks. This is about the month-old tag, and I really hope I'm not too late to the party. Obviously, there will be decks most likely mentioned by other people. For the purpose of this video, I want to make sure to give you personal reasons why these particular decks made my list. Some of these reasons might be practical based, some purely emotional, and some might not even make common sense at all. But I guess that's how we are drawn to the decks in the first place. To introduce some order, mostly for my own sanity I should say, I have marked the decks in the order from most to least used. So, let's begin. So, the first deck, maybe I can zoom in. Spanish Tarot. Here we go. So this is a Marseille style deck. Comes in a tag box. Here's the backs. I just love the look of this bright, almost neon colors against beige background. It's a Marseille-based tarot deck. As I said, somehow the images in this deck feel more approachable and not intimidating, like some of the uptight characters on the traditional TDM decks out there. Characters on this deck are known for their orange faces. Check this out. Which make me smile for some reason every time I look at them. It's like they spend significant time under the Spanish or Caribbean sun with their drama or passionate love of living. The cardstock is my favorite. It's a pure joy to shuffle. The size is smaller than a standard tarot deck, which just makes me reach for them even more. I have used this deck for TDM numerology study, which is why I still turn to it all the time. To be honest, this deck didn't leave my tarot bag for the past 10 months. I even brought it with me on vacation, which caused some of the warping due to excess humid climate. Luckily, that went away a few months later. Beautiful. Here, let me see if I can just actually grab to compare the size, the standard size tarot. Okay, then next deck is the Marseille Waite. To be honest, again, despite being called Marseille, it's mostly RWS deck. Some major arcana, like Lover's card and the Sun, are true to Marseille style, which I prefer, but the rest are really following the standard RWS scenes by Pamela Coleman-Smith. The deck has a charming atmosphere of a medieval town with a fairy tale-like illustrations. Overall, a very sweet, dreamy deck that has a great ability to tap into storytelling talent that you didn't even know you had. The small downsides are the backs. In my opinion, they're a very children book-like style, while I was hoping for something a notch more mature. However, that doesn't really stop me from reaching out to it. I'm most likely to pick this one over traditionally RWS, which really brings me to the next deck. All right, deck number 3, Tarot Vintage. It's a remake of a traditional RWS images, reworked to satisfy aesthetic snobs like me. These cards are printed to mimic tea stains and muted minimal color palette cards that can look great on the edged wood kitchen table and within an aesthetic Instagram setup, fitting for any current tarot Insta connoisseur. Yeah, speaking of myself right here. Due to these superficial reasons and a few more substantial ones, I was immediately drawn to it. I love its small hands, friendly size. Let's compare it one more time. And I like that I don't need to worry about smearing peanut butter all over the cards during breakfast with my greasy fingers or spilling tea. Oh, here goes my puppy. Okay. Hey, I'm back. Speaking about peanut butter, just had to give my little puppy peanut butter treat, otherwise he would drive me nuts. Anyways, back to this deck, Tarot Vintage. As I was saying, this deck is perfect. I already edged it dark brown, and it already has sort of a tea-stained look to it. It provides this sort of a freedom of not really giving a damn using the deck just like that in the kitchen table. The most important, I think, about this deck is the vibes I get from it. It's like the feeling of uncovering it from Grandma's attic forgotten chest. It transports me to the world filled with smell of old carton boxes, books with yellow pages wrapped with embossed leather covers, cracked wood on the sewing machine, lost golden buttons and laced ribbons in the little drawers. It's like the deck that allows me to get lost into the faint treasured memories. It allows me to imagine stories that I might have told once and get closer to the old world wisdom and secrets that it might still hold. I have used it during one of the tarot courses and we have bonded even more. I do own Centennial Borderless, so here it is. See the size, but now I'm less likely to reach to it. This is my really go-to RWS. Deck number 4. Tarot of the Abyss by Anatolian. I love this deck. It is sensitive and deep. It's like an advice from a good experienced friend. For that exact reason, I actually end up getting a second one to send it over to my best friend in a surprise gift package. The deck is full of live characters that can relate through their kind eyes and wrinkles. Pencil sketch technique adds incredible movement. You get connected to the elements through the skillfully selected pencil strokes. You can almost feel the air looking at the hair or tree branches flapping in the wind. With various hatching techniques, the artist is able to set the mood and play with the light in various scenes. There is nothing like the raw hand-drawn images, especially in our digital modern world. Anna Turian has an incredible knowledge and deep understanding of tarot. Little booklet is full with information with her personal experience. It is a treasure for the beginner and a great insight for experienced reader. But truthfully, the images of the cards just speak for themselves, loud and clear. There are 2 alternate cards, 3 of Swords and 10 of Swords. There is no right or wrong choices. You just pick the ones closer to your understanding and meaning, or one that you draw on the most. So the specific one speaks on broken heart or letting the pain out free. And this is more of a traditional 10 of Swords, but it does add another person just to accentuate that suffering that the card brings. See if I can find Oh, here we go, because I did separate them. So this Ten of Swords has a different connotation. Goes back to numerology almost, that every suit grows with its number, and the suit of swords being the suit of air and the thought and the maturity and the wisdom that you can reach when it comes to the 10th. And the Three of Swords, this one really shows the pain and the broken heart and the letting that pain out free. Meanwhile, the Three of Swords in this book, in this card actually showing the book and then the mind, how three being a creativity and numerology and the growth that comes out in the movement, and in this instance through the mind of the person. I actually prefer, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say which one I prefer. I'll leave it up to you. Not to spoil. Okay, deck number 5. Get a sip of coffee. Okay, this is a Dreaming Waite here. You can buy it on Amazon. I did trim mine and edged it. Had lots of fun with it. To be honest, I don't know if it was really necessary. It's a simple deck on its own, and you can definitely keep it within the existing border-like style. I do like the color green, and it has a funky green backs. Not everyone loves them, but I'm okay with that, surprisingly. And with the green, with bleeding all over, it became my green deck. So this deck is very stylish and youthful to me. There's something very much fashion forward about it. All of these cute accessories like exaggerated pointy shoes, cozy arm warmers, wraparound belts, long socks, thick scarves. I totally want to have some of them in my wardrobe. It is this perfect combination of fashion elements from different eras, modern as well as older European styles. The use of this classic black and white patterns just adds to the overall charm and playfulness. The hairstyles with long soft waves, the bangs, the ponytails, I mean, come on, so stylish. There's something very youthful about it. All of the textures on the clothing and wallpaper just gives that comfort feeling. If it makes any sense, maybe it's tapping to my designer side or connecting to my younger fashion-loving self. Maybe it somehow reminds me of my dear friend from teenage years, who is now, funny enough, a textile graphic designer. Well, she's actually just promoted to creative director, so I should say, maybe I should use that term now. I'm really happy for her. And all of this wallpapered European apartments we grew up at, I don't know, but it sure evokes something positive, and therefore I still reach out to it once in a while. This deck really screams spring at me. Although really looking at some of the swords suit gives the wintry vibes, but because of that bleeding green edges, I tend to associate it with this youthfulness and freshness of spring. Okay, next deck. Deck number 6. Tarot of the Mystical Moments. It is rich, abundant, beautiful, full of colors and shine. It reminds me of the circus, with its curiosities and mysteries, where things are not what they seem, but somehow it's okay, because everything goes under the big top. It is a very feminine deck. It even gives options for kings and emperor being represented as women. I just love the female emperor. Not sure where she's at, but she reminds me of Catherine the Great. Very controlling. All of her novel favorites like marionettes. Let's see if I can find her. Oh, here she is. Each card is like a postcard that stops you at your tracks and delivers message only if you to look a bit longer. It lets your imagination to wander off on a journey into extravagant and a bit surreal world where things somehow make complete sense, only if you take a moment to connect them. And see all the details. Look at this surreal fence and how it becomes a dress. You can just immerse yourself in it. There's something so exciting, beautiful, abundant, and very dreamy about this deck. When you work with it, it's like getting submerged into dreamland. And I'm very there for her. Yes, I just called her her. Even though I never usually do that, but this deck is definitely a her for me. This devil. Things I'm sure not what they seem. Can always get lured in by the beauty of this poisonous mushroom. Or spider. Oh, I just hate spiders. They scare me. Look at this. Beautiful postcards. One thing to mention, the deck is larger than a regular tarot size. So just in comparison. All right. Okay, next deck made many people's list. For me, I put it on number 7. It is found in tarot. It is almost like a modern classic. This deck is fairly modern. You can almost say minimalistic. So I might even say it's cold and masculine. I see it more eerie, with images appearing from the thin, misty air. It submerges us into a dreamlike atmospheric world, where artists using light as a main subject to deliver the message. The deck comes with a really well-written booklet, with just the right words used to describe its meaning. I used this deck a lot in the beginning of my journey, and hands down I can recommend it as a beginner deck to anyone. When I look through the cards, I get the feeling of being in a clean, minimal space like an art gallery, filled with large paintings strategically lit with architectural cove and linear lighting. You're only there to observe, admire, contemplate about art on display, maybe sip a glass of champagne while having a philosophical exchange with a stranger. All of this while there's a Gordon Ramsay meticulously selecting oversized Brussels sprouts. Here we go. So that's the Gordon Ramsay deck for me. So number 8. Tarot de Carlotydes. I mean, this deck is really cute. It's inexpensive. It's available on Amazon, and I would totally recommend for anyone. This is a fun little deck that connects me on a very deep, emotional, almost nostalgic level. Starting with the backs that remind me of this Russian folk art called kakhlama. It's like colorful flowers on the black background. In this case, not too bright, more of a muted flowers, but still gives me that same feeling. I mean, maybe I should start with this guy right away, David Bowie. Come on. The appearance of it just adds to these memories from me being young, blazing ashes to ashes on a high volume growing up. And just generally these fairy tale characters like knights, ladies in gowns, dragons, unicorns, and of course you can never go wrong with beers, vodka, fish, samovar, and Sushki treats. Like this deck, to me, it's almost like the artist compiled the images that intrigued her to tell the story through this lens of curiosity and exploration. I didn't realize till now, really, but could it possibly be my so-called inner child deck? I really appreciate small size, as I mentioned, with my super short fingers. It's really useful. The cardstock and the shuffling, same really comment as goes to Spanish Tarot, also made by the same publisher. I love having this deck in my collection. I don't reach to it often enough, as much as I really want to, but it does bring me joy, therefore it's not going anywhere. Okay, next deck out there is one of the newer decks in my collection. You can see the flip-through videos of it available on my channel as well. This is a Symbolic Soul Tarot. This is a new, modern, sharp, quirky, sarcastic deck. I love the backs. I've edged it black recently. I've just been called for it for sure. It's an aesthetic for those of us who cares for such trivial things. I'm sure one of those people, to be honest. I believe that you're drawn to cards aesthetics in the beginning. It's that first visual connection you're lured in to explore more. But then it's the depth of the images that keeps you loyal. When you finally discover the deck true voice and you find it has something to tell you, personally, you keep coming back to it. I haven't used Symbolic Soul Tarot much yet. I'm almost been savoring this initial introductions, waiting for the right moment to come. With these holidays and insane work overload, I needed to take my sweet time. I can clearly see how this deck possesses both good looks and the voice, more like cut the crap kind of voice, I should say, with its sharp and witty remarks, keeping me excited for future readings. Sorry for this hustling on the back, my puppy is just really trying to get that treat out. I mean, first video, and this, again, this is the reason why I don't really do a lot of voice-on videos, is because this just, I don't have a second. And this time I'm just gonna be like, whatever, I'm just gonna go for it. I'll just do it now or never. Better now, I guess. Okay, I need a moment. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so this deck was created by the same artist. I have the deck of hers, mostly based on TDM. It was made by her for Sabat magazine. It's called Tarot of the Hidden Star. I have it here right beside me, but I'm not going to even pronounce the French version of it. But you can find the flip through in the playlist on my channel. It's more of an indie type production versus this one is more of a mass market, and therefore this one made the cut and the other one didn't. But if you do like this art style, you can definitely check that one out as well. Okay, deck number 10, last one. Okay, this one definitely is not gonna even fit. I need to zoom out. Okay, this one is the Visconti di Modrone Tarot. This is a mass market deck, and usually mass market decks are designed to be affordable, readily available via local bookstores or online orders on Amazon or large publishers. Visconti di Modrone Tarot surprisingly made this mass market list, but it's sure a big splurge. I had to wait to get special birthday month discount topped up with the collected points and my friend's coupon to knock down the cost. I wouldn't be able to call myself a true tarot enthusiast and a tarot collector without getting my hands on one of the historic Visconti decks. Let me get this out. Oh. I wanted a proper gold and silver foiled version to get the same feeling of exquisite item that only privileged families of Milan around 500 years ago had a chance to experience. Last year, I spent a significant amount of time researching history of tarot, Renaissance art, and how it was intertwined with philosophical teachings that surfaced back up in that same time in Italy. I'm not going to get into all of these fascinating facts today, but I do want to show this elaborate museum quality deck. The size of each card is just humongous. Here, just to compare to the size of the general, sort of a standard tarot size. I have been mostly using majors at this point. It does come with additional Christian virtues like hope, faith, and charity, as well as 2 extra cord figures for each suit, knave and a lady. So these are extra of the majors, and the cords are gold, and then the minors are silver foiled. Yeah, so it really brings to like a total of 86 cards. So it's not just huge, it's chunky as well. The deck itself is so fascinating and mysterious. It's definitely a jewel in my collection. I used it during holidays. It made it very special. Sometimes I would just draw one card, like one major, and really do some study through. Sit with it for some time, learn about the history of it, where it came, where the symbols, where the stories. I think it's more of a collector's item. It's not a go-to, but it is sure things, I guess, that I would recommend for those who are fascinated with tarot and want to own something really special, that it's not indie and it's mass-produced, but very kind of, yeah, like very special, unique item that you can personally dive into. Thank you for watching. I hope you had enjoyed this video. If you have learned something interesting or something made you smile in this past half an hour or so, that means all this effort was worth it. If you made it to the end, please drop a comment telling me which one of these decks shown today you like the most. I will try to be adding more of the flip through videos, as well as some of the VR videos to my playlist with no apparent order, no priority, or without apparent schedule. I'm really not here to break any sort of algorithm or gather followers. I'm just here to enjoy my time, share knowledge, and have fun being part of the tarot community. Hoping to be able to come back here again with more interesting content. So hopefully I'll see you soon.